Hello, hello. I am so excited to show this little project off. Quick rundown. I'm out at my horse pasture, and this spot here, so there's a driveway that leads in, and this spot right here is a ridge. It was pure weeds this summer. It's kind of always been a little bit of a blowout. My horses, if you have horses or you've been around horses, you know that horses are horrible grazers because they're super selective and they hit the same spot over and over again. And management is key with grazing horses. But what I did this summer, I pulled them off of my whole pasture sometime, it was like the third week of June, something like that. And I gave the pasture a break because we were looking at no rain, super dry. We hadn't had any substantial rain since the first part of May. And I found a different place for them to go, and they spent roughly 2 months there, and then I brought them back and grazed them out here again for probably about a month. I locked them up right around the first part of October, and they're getting hay now. But I did this little project. Of course, I had a couple 3 years worth of horse manure when I clean out their pen that had just been sitting. I had wanted to spread it out on top of there's a big knob over here, but just hadn't gotten around to it. And I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect right here in this spot. And I did some other stuff, throwing out some other manure, but really concentrated as much here as I could. Of course, using the skid steer is not ideal because then you end up with these piles like this. But every now and then I go around and kind of kick them to help spread them out. There's another big pile. But then I took some rye, turnips, and I had a bag of vetch in my shed that got a hole in it. Mice chewed on it and had spilt some, so I picked some of that up and threw that out here. But for starters, I did just rye and turnips. I think it was turnips or radishes, pretty sure turnips, and spread that out here with just a hand yard spreader. And look at this. I timed it so that the seed went out roughly 7 days before the big rain that we had coming 2 weeks ago. I was really nervous that there wasn't enough, which it was a long rain. I mean, it started raining Wednesday night, rained Wednesday night, all day Thursday, most of Thursday night, and then was kind of misty, drizzly Friday and most of Saturday that weekend. So we had plenty of moisture, I think right around 6 inches here in Bassett. But I was really nervous that some of this rye was going to germinate, and then because the weather turned nice afterwards, that it was going to dry out. And chalk it up to rye. I tell you what, like, here's the spot where obviously the water set, but even on this knob with the manure, look at all of that. What I said, it's radishes or turnips. I can't remember what it was. I'd have to look. But this stuff is it's really exploded the last couple 3 days. I swear, since Saturday, this stuff has grown 2 inches out here. Some of the grass that you see is the native grass that's out here. I mowed these weeds down. It was just, marijuana, lamb's quarter, some western ragweed, things like that out here. Mowed that down about 3-4 weeks before I did this whole manure cover crop thing. And just so pumped up. Look at all of the green that's growing, especially in these manure piles. And the spots here, just all sorts of stuff. Who the heck knows what that is? I guess we'll find out. It's probably weeds. But we've got more moisture coming here the middle of the week and then the end of the week again. I'm super pumped up for how that's gonna handle things. Of course, the rye will be fine. We are supposed to get really like in the mid-20s over the weekend with 3-4 inches of snow chances, so that could be interesting here on the brassicas. But it is what it is. Any seed that didn't germinate hopefully ends up with something. And I still got some of that seed left. I plan on next spring coming out here and interseeding even more stuff. I've got some clover that I want to throw out here, as well as some actual perennial grasses. But I needed to get something started, needed to get something going to get the ground covered as fast as I possibly could. And the manure, you know, it was a great way to utilize that 3 or 4 year old manure pile. But stay tuned on this, and I will update as best as I can on it. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far. We've had some windy days, and I don't see the sand blowing across this like I have in the past, which tells me that at the very least, me dumping, literally dumping, as you can see, some really heavy spots and then some thinner spots of the lack of manure, or the manure, and of course good old twine. Gotta pick that up. But yeah, it's just great. Now we get the leaves falling on it, and that's just going to be even more cover and future biology food. But as I said, stay tuned, keep checking back, and I will keep the page as updated as I possibly can. A little more twine found on what happens out here, but so far loving this. This is great. It's going to be awesome.